Good morning. Welcome to Unity Orlando, where the light's always shining. Semi-shining, yes. Good. Hope everybody's doing well. Our opening statement this morning is, I am a child of God, and I live in the kingdom of health and abundance. No screens today, so we'll do it from memory. Here we go. I am a child of God, and I live in the kingdom of health and abundance. All right, let's all close our eyes and take a nice deep breath in. Let's affirm that together in the silence. And so it is. And now, if you'd like to join us in singing our joy song this morning, please stand up. And we have a song called From My Heart, From My Soul. Seated.
Good morning. Good morning, Unity Orlando. How is everybody today? I can kind of see you. Welcome. I'm so glad you're spending your Sunday morning with us. I see we're all family, and welcome online. It's a little dark in here, so you guys at home, hopefully you have power and you're watching us. I have the messages today. I'm Susan Francis, your platform speaker. Just to let you know, the notes from today, even for those in person, you can go to our website and download those. It's on the services page at unityorlando.org. So you can download those. I'm sorry, we don't have them printed since our electricity is limited. Also, let you know that you can help the church out by going through Amazon, through our unityorlando.org webpage. If you click on that link, it'll take you to Amazon, and we get a small percentage of your purchases. Also, A Course in Miracles Zoom class with Reverend Ronnie and Paul Kenny is continuing on Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. And if you've never joined, you can still come. Just send Ronnie an email, which is on our website, and she'll send you a link. Also, the men's group meets every Wednesday at 4 p.m. at Starbucks on the corner of Howell Branch and 436 at 4 o'clock. And they also meet on the third Sunday in the courtyard classroom. Also, a reminder that chaplains, since we're meeting in person, that chaplains are available for prayer after service if you would like that. I see I'm a chaplain and Bob is here as well, so contact one of us if you need prayer. Also, if you care to join the prayer chaplains in prayer every day at 8 p.m., we pause and pray, and the October theme is I Am. So join us if you care to. Also, Reverend Bob's lesson today is After the Storm Has Passed, which is perfect timing on Bob's part. I'm so impressed. He knew. Oh, and we won't have Meyer Hall today since we don't have power down there, so I apologize. Definitely next week. Okay, just want to tell you a quick story. And this is perfect timing as well because there was a priest who bought a generator at a yard sale. And at home, he brings it home, and he pulls the starter rope a few times with no results. So he storms back, no pun intended, to the yard sale and tells the previous owner, I can't get the generator to start. And the owner said, well, that's because you have to curse to get it started. Well, the priest said, I'm a man of the cloth. I don't even remember how to curse. And the owner said, well, you keep pulling on that rope and it'll come right back to you. All right, so without further ado, I'll turn it back over to Brian.
I didn't even need a generator for that to happen for me. This is one of my favorite songs. It's actually has a little bit to do with steering through a storm. It's called Dream Sailor, but it's Sailer, just to point that out. I had to write this song because it's been so long since I've seen you in a dream. We were sailing along in a vessel strong, and you handed me the wheel, and I steered us around the storm, and you cleared the skies and filled me warm, and I live in all your glory now, in a world of love and bliss. Now I shine your light in the world to see, in a world in harmony, in a world in harmony. And so I wrote this song because it's been too long since I've been in a dream with you. As we reach the shore of happiness, in a world of love and more, in a world of love and more, and I live in all your glory now, in a world of love and bliss. Now I shine your light in the world to see,
that was wonderful. In a world of harmony. That's what we want. Good morning out there, you silhouettes that I can see. The brave, the few, those willing to come out after a hurricane and sit in the dark. And all of you at home, thank you for tuning in this weekend. We've done everything we can to make sure we can broadcast. Now, just to clarify what's going on here, we have three-phase power here. We were required that as a commercial institution, and consequently, the entire neighborhood can be up, and we're still dependent upon different lines. And we have 3 of them coming in. 2 of them are dead. So we are living on 1/3 power, which is why the doors are open and there's no air conditioning. It's why you have no lights in the sanctuary, but God graced us. We have stage lights, and due to some very long extension cords, we have all the equipment running. So you at home, you can join us today, and I hope you did. Okay. I got to clarify. She said, boy, how timely that message was. That was timely because I changed it on Friday. Now, it wasn't far off, okay? My original choice for title was After the Ship Has Sailed, okay? And the whole idea was to deal with change, a world that's changing around us faster than sometimes we think we can keep up with, okay? There are some of us looking back and going, this is not the world I grew up in, Some of us looking back and saying, oh my God, I worked all my time, all my life to head this direction, and now the world is taking it in an entirely different direction. My mom was one of the first to get a degree, a master's degree in library science, at least out of Toledo University in Ohio. And she was writing books. She put out 2 books on how to run a library 2 years before everything went to computers and everything changed. Sometimes our lives feel that way. And I've got to be careful about choosing these talk titles. Because I looked at it and thought, oh, this storm coming through, it changes everything for some people. I mean, periodically, it's the perfect analogy to the fact that storms come through our lives, and life as we knew it, that ship has sailed. Things have changed. Change. If you don't think things have changed, ask the people in Fort Myers. The ones still alive, right? I mean, there has been some loss of life down there. The world changes suddenly, unexpectedly. Storms come through and tear down everything you've been working on. Life seems to present that periodically, right? Hurricane Ivan, how'd you do? I mean, at our house, well, we got power back last night at 5 p.m. I believe Brian told me he hasn't got it back yet, And losing power changes your life. Have you noticed that? Do you know what a relief it was to be able to cook a warm meal and take a hot shower? Wow, a luxury. How'd you do? We basically had some landscape damage, and not bad at all. I think everyone around has the carpet of leaves and little branches over everything. Anybody get hit bad that's here? Good. So nature was your friend, considering how ferocious it can be at times. And you at home, I hope you were safe. I hope you've been kept safe. But the world changes. You know, this storm has changed life for a number of people. But there are lots of storms in our lives lately, right? Hurricane Ivan came through. No, it's Ian. Ian. Let's get it straight. I don't want to call its name wrong, piss it off, and have it come back. I'm sorry. How about COVID? The world changed. And what's intriguing is there were people who have said in a number of areas, we will never go back to the same. I just read they're closing Regal theaters, or a bunch of them. Not all of them, but a bunch of them. They're trying to handle things because they don't believe the theater experience will return in full until 25. I don't know where they came up with that number. But the bottom line is the world has changed. The world we knew. Different things are happening. World politics. I don't think I've ever seen it quite like this. We're closer to nuclear war than we've been since I was growing up, and they told us just to hide under our desks. Yeah, like that was going to take care of everything, right? And then there's getting older. This used to be something that was simply the experience of people as they hit their senior years. The idea that the world keeps changing, sometimes not asking us about it. And changing in ways that we often feel are making our lives more difficult. We don't want to have to cope with the change. But lately, change has been happening so rapidly in our society that the young feel the same way. The world as they've known it is changing right in front of them. The way they knew things ought to be, that ship has sailed. I just a couple of weeks ago, I was extremely amused to hear from someone in her latter 20s how the young people just didn't get it anymore. She's talking about people in their 20 and 21, and she says, they don't even get our references. I thought, well, maybe you could understand us a little better now. The bottom line and the point I'm making is everything is constantly changing, and you're not going to stop that. That is probably the definition of earth life. Constant change. Most of our challenges involve change. So in the end, I'm going to say that the ultimate adversary in life is change. And it's an adversary that we have to embrace. Make peace with thine adversary quickly, while you're still on the road with it. That was Jesus' statement. Well, most of us live by our patterns. We can depend on spring every year and fall every year, and summer to be a certain way, and winter to be a certain way. That ship has sailed. We can depend on all kinds of things in our life, and we base our patterns to try to make our life just a little easier on what we know is going to happen. And we learn to trust things in the outer world. But in the end, it's a total fantasy to believe that we can keep things the same. Even Rome only ruled the world for a while. Everything changed. So, what is it makes change so frightening? And generally it is. I believe it's frightening because we depend upon consistency. I know what's going to happen here. I know what's going to happen there. And when consistency gets messed with, this world starts feeling like a very, very unsafe place. Now, I just told you the world's going to keep changing. So how do we feel secure in a changing world? The only thing that doesn't change in your life is your connection to God. And in the end, that's got to become your anchor. You are a child of God. God lives at the center of your being. And you can go through all the other changes in life, but that will never change. And if we have one thing, one rock, one anchor in our life, that God is always with me, we can negotiate all the rest of it. We just have to have something, one anchor to cling to. So in the end, while going through change, it's exceedingly important that we go within and remember that presence of God within me while the world swirls all around us. That's the place where you can still feel peace when chaos is everywhere. So, does your life sometimes feel like a hurricane? Now, sometimes it's fair weather, okay? And things feel just wonderful. I'm not saying this happens all the time, but that's why the hurricane catches us off guard. I mean, what was it? One day before Fort Myers was supposed to be in the clear? Then everything changed. And that's how life deals with us sometimes. Every time we start to get things where we want them, a storm blast gusts through, and everything seems to fall apart. We have to start over. But your relationship with God is still there. And that's why you can start over and do it again. You know, that was Fillmore's version of prosperity. He says you can build, amass instant wealth, all kinds of wonderful wealth. He says in a day it can be swept away. But if you're connected to God as the source, your source, you'll build it right back. It'll be in a different way, but you'll build it right back. What? Job lost his entire life. But after he passed through the hurricane, he never gave up his trust in God. And it was that trust in God that took him to the point where he built everything back. One of my formative spiritual experiences had a most disturbing key point. Here I was. I woke up from a dream in which I felt I had been guided that I was way behind in spiritual growth, that I could be doing much better, and I woke up making the commitment that I would not let myself off the hook. I would not indulge in emotions that were counterproductive. I was going to meet life head on, meet every challenge, learn every lesson as quickly as I could. And God kind of said, oh, that's what you want to do? I can help you. And literally, my life became a hurricane. I was putting out a fire here and putting out a fire there, learning this lesson, learning that lesson, learning the other lesson. And it got to be where I thought after a while, and this kept going, after a while I said, oh, please, I got to get off this train. My life felt like a runaway train through a mountain pass, swirling all over the place as it went through the mountains. And so I had it out with God, and I said, okay, God, let me off the train. And it was one of those times I got words back in my head that actually sounded like that deep, resounding voice. And they came through with the great spiritual guidance. You bought the ticket, ride the ride. You're not getting off. And I settled in. Now, years later, a friend of mine had a very similar experience. He was playing, he was in Fort Pierce. Fred was playing in Fort Pierce on playing music at one of the hotels right on the beach. So during his break, he'd go out at night and stare into the wind, yell, and and he's having it out with God one night, saying, "My God, this is going wrong in my life. This is going wrong in my life. Do something about it. Why are you letting this happen?" And he said he got his voice back. He got his answer. Said, "Shut up and eat your oatmeal." God said that? Well, God comes through whatever your consciousness needs. People have asked me, when did the train ride stop? And I look back and I realize I got comfortable with life again, but I don't know that the train ride ever stopped. I just had to learn to trust God through it all. So let's talk about how we can handle our lives. After a storm comes through and tears everything apart, life as we knew it has changed. There are some changes we are very grateful for. They make life easier. In spite of the fact it was a big thing for me to learn DOS in the beginning, the whole concept that I could type in and change it with a keystroke instead of retyping the whole page. I was so grateful for word processing. And I would never want to go back. But then we look back at other things in our past and we kind of look back with longing. We go, wow. Back when life was, I keep using the words, hearing the word simpler used. Back when life was simpler. Well, how do you handle it when the storm comes through and life is forever changed? And that storm can be anything. Or even in a more positive note, how do you handle change as we move from one cycle of life to another? Because life progresses and things are always changing. So, 3 basic areas, and the last one I'm going to spend a little time on. The first is, don't fight the storm, accept it. Y'all seen that picture of that cat? You know, all I could think of was, hell no, I won't go. But I'm not sure that's what the caption was, hang in there, baby, or whatever. The cat is being pushed through a door, and you just see, and that's most of us. That's why we laugh over that, because that's the way we feel. Okay? But you're going in the room. You can fight all you want and make it hard, but you're going in the room. Life is going to change. So accept where you are now. That's the first step. Don't put your energy into being absolutely squandered on trying to keep the old. The old is not going to be kept. Life is always new. So accept where you are so you can put all your energy there. In Matthew 5:39, Jesus said, I say to you that you should not resist evil. What he's saying is, don't expend your energy on evil. Embrace where you are and look for the good. Don't wrestle with evil on evil's terms. So, there is a spiritual principle called acceptance, and it's one that's not terribly popular. But it's the idea that when you're in the middle of someplace you don't want to be, if there's not a choice, if you cannot get out of it, accept where you are. Because by using acceptance, it allows you to put all of your energy toward facing what life has brought you. If not, if you're resisting, you're through anger, resentment, sadness, fear, it robs you of energy, and you're facing the change with one arm tied behind your back. No, accept where you are and handle it fully. Put your energy on doing whatever you got to do. I've said all along, if there's a choice, choose. And if there's no choice, embrace it and give it your best. We need to learn to face what lies before us with peace, because anger does not make you stronger. In the end, it really does make you weaker. If you are about to go into a conflict with an adversary, the one that's blustering is not your worst nightmare. It's the one who is absolutely peaceful. They are going to be a force to be dealt with, because they have all their energies centered upon what lies ahead. So if number one is don't fight the storm, accept it. Number two is create a new plan. What shall I do now that things have changed? Most of us don't want to do that. That's extra work. We had it down pat. We had everything so that we simply create our habits and follow them, and it works out, and we don't have to put a lot of energy into it. But things have changed. So what shall I do now that things have changed? Matthew 5:41, Jesus said, whoever compels you to carry a burden for a mile, go with him for 2. Make it your plan. If you got to change, embrace that change and do the best you can with the new plan. Don't spend your time mourning the fact that the ship has sailed on the old plan. Adaptability is a powerful quality. We see it in the animal kingdom. The most adaptable species will survive. Those who have to have their meal come a certain way, those who have to have things continue as they always have, die out when change happens. We don't want to be the part of life that dies out. We want to be adaptable enough that we can move forward. So, embrace your new circumstances, whatever they are. If the yard's a mess, embrace it. My job is cleaning. If you've got a lot more things you've got to do, embrace them and get started. Try to think that maybe some greater good could come out of this. Maybe I'll live in a better place. Maybe something will come up. Joseph in Egypt was the prime example of how you handle adversarial change. He had the perfect setup. He was the favored son in a relatively wealthy family. He was showered with gifts constantly, which led to his brothers deciding to sell him into slavery, right? Okay. Now, you'd think he'd spend the rest of his life bemoaning how unfair this was, and it was unfair. But instead, he decided, well, this is my new normal, right? This is the way it's going to be. So, I'm going to do the best job of being a slave I could. And he became this wonderful slave and had a wonderful life. And he did such a good job with it that another storm came that sent him to prison. Okay? And in prison, you'd say, well, now he's finally going to give up and say, this is just plain unfair, and spend his life saying, I wish things were the way they were. But instead, he says, okay, I'm in prison. I guess I'll be the best prisoner ever. And he gets put in charge of everybody else, et cetera, et cetera. And all of this in the end led to him, one of the guys getting out and telling the Pharaoh he's good at stuff, And in the end, Joseph became the second most powerful man in all of Egypt, the ruling power of the day. Because he was willing to make a new plan each time and pour himself into it to give more toward the new direction rather than more in the old one that had been ripped out of his hands. During COVID, the church had to change in many ways. You at home, you're really the way we changed. It was very scary, that change. And yet now we've embraced it permanently. Our church is both in person and, for those who cannot be here, online. It was a real step forward for us. But it was scary to change. Instead, though, the moment we had it, people stepped forward and said, we can get online, we can do this, we can do that. And me, I looked at it, and though I was really unhappy with how things were going, I said, do it. It's our only chance. And they did, and we walked into a new age. The world as we knew it before will never be the same again. I get that. But there's something new in front of us. So, don't fight the storm, accept it. Embrace it enough to create a whole new plan and get behind it. What is number 3? Number 3, I'm going to go back to what I said you have to do to get through all of this. Live your life in the eye of the hurricane. That's the peace at the center of all the swirling. The world will be swirling around you. But there's still that connection to God that never changes. And you can touch that presence as peace deep within you while all your life is still, your outer life is still in turmoil. You end up getting your security through all these changes from your trust in God's presence within you. That's your security. Not the fact that it's always been this way, because that's going to change. But God is with me. The outer things that give you security can be swept away in a day. I know it doesn't seem like it. It seems like they'll always be there. But these were the words of a man who lived through the Depression. If you're talking about Charles Fillmore. And bluntly, this has been a lot of our experiences. For those in Fort Myers, it was a day, and it was all swept away. I get it. In 2 Samuel 22:2, Samuel writes, "The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer." That's the attitude we need to carry us through any storm we ever have to face in life and all of the change that follows it. So, as you go through your changes, dwell in the peace that comes from your trust in God. The world's going to be very demanding. That's, I think, the definition of challenges. But when challenges happen, we need to at least spend some time and say, my anchor is in here. They were interviewing someone on TV who was down there who had had all kinds of devastation on his home. He was a young man and wife and kids running around, and they said, "Ooh, how are you handling this?" He says, "God has taken care of me in the past, and God will take care of me now. I'll get through it. We'll get through this." Yeah. I thought, a lot of people understand this. A lot of approaches understand this. Number 2 is, under this category of being in the eye of the hurricane, is practice centering. And then face whatever you got to face. Okay? What do I mean by centering? Centering is the concept that you close your eyes for a moment. You don't have to have your eyes closed to do it. But you realize that you're spread out. I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about that, I've got this going, I've got that. We're all over the place, and you literally image yourself bringing all of your energies inward to a place right behind your heart that you're going to call the center of your being. And you take a moment, instead of thinking out of here, out of the head, to think out of this place behind your heart that is the center of your being. This is me. So often we define ourselves by all of that that's around us. So take a moment to draw your energies to the center. Then stay in your inner place of peace as you face the storm. If you can keep your attention here at the center of your being, you can try this. As you walk with security, with certainty. You're very capable. If you expand out and you're kind of like, I am everywhere, and you walk, you're liable to start stumbling because your energies are spread out. So bring them to the center. Feel that peace. And while you're facing all those changes and all those things that would normally cause fear, feel peace and go at it. Walk through the situation in peace. You might realize and affirm, I am a child of God, And because God is with me, I can face whatever the world throws at me. Whatever the world throws my way, I can handle it because God is with me. And that never changes. So make that peace at the center of your being your rock and your fortress. Try to walk through life in peace, but also go to this place regularly to just dwell within in the presence of God, to get the strength to come back out and do whatever you got to do. How do you handle change? Make peace with thine adversary quickly. If you're required to go 1 mile, go 2. Embrace the new plan. And make this your rock and your fortress as you go out and face this amazing hurricane that we call life. We can all do it. We can all handle it, and we can all do it well. Because deep inside of us, we are connected directly to God. So let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath and sigh it out. Find that point. Let's go into our hearts, the center of our chest. Let's visually pull all of your energies out of all the projects you've got, the responsibilities, the challenges you face. Just pull it all of your thought energy, all of your feeling energy, pull it all to the center there, right under your heart. And make this the center of your being instead of your head. Think, I am, out of your heart. The head's going to spin with ideas of how I can handle this and how I can handle that. But for now, we're down here in the heart. I am, out of your heart. And I am at peace. There may be a storm all around you, but you're in the eye. Here at the center of your being, you're in the eye of the storm. You're in this wonderful place of peace. Be still. Be still and know that I am God. I am the presence within you. And I am eternally with you. Hear that voice within. That feeling that rises. No matter what happens in the outer world, I am in the presence of God. I am a child of God. I am beloved of God. Because God is with me. That which is in me is greater than that which is in the world. because God is with me, I can face whatever the world throws at me. And good can come out of evil. Vitality and life out of sickness and infirmity. Joy can rise out of pain and suffering. And love can rise out of discord. I am connected to all the power in the universe, for within me, loving me, is the very presence of God. It is my anchor. This is my fortress. And this Spirit that is loving me from within me is my deliverer, that which will carry me through this and on to higher ground. This fortress is my source of strength. And fills me with the knowledge that all is well, even when it doesn't appear that way. God is in charge, and all is well. So for a moment now, visualize yourself walking through life, centered in the peace within. Father, for thy presence forever with us, each of us. We are truly grateful for the joy of life rising out of everything. We are truly grateful. Amen. The usher will come forward. We'll prepare for our offering. Or use it you at home. Yeah, use it at home. I'm going to lose my education here. Okay, for you at home, you who are online, you go to the home page following the service, and you can hit the Donate Now button to use a credit card or PayPal. You can take our address off and mail us an offering, or you can call the office to arrange for regular offerings to be taken out as you want them to, if that's easier. Centering ourselves on God as the source of our abundance, we give our gift filled with love and joy, knowing the universe will multiply it and return it to us from different places in love and joy. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. Thank you, God. Amen. It's all yours.
Thank you, Reverend Bob. And even if when you changed the topic, this one still stays the same. How did that happen when everything changes? Well, it's called change coming. Yeah. It's the only thing constant. Here we go. stars that shine so bright. See the girl hold the sun in her hand so tight.
Perfect way to end it. Well, I changed the title. I didn't really change the talk. I just made it appropriate to what happened this week. And as always, you did the perfect job of picking the perfect songs. Thank you all for the wonderful job you've done under adverse conditions up here. This is great. Okay, where am I? Wherever you're watching, whether at home or whether you're here in person, thank you for being with us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being Unity Orlando. Next Sunday, I will be visiting my daughter in San Antonio. I'm going to drive that trip, maybe for the last time. I don't know how often I'm going to drive, but I'm doing it this time. Got to take her all kinds of pictures and memorabilia and get it out of my house and pass it to the next generation. However, we will have a wonderful service going on here. Paul Kenny will be speaking on our eternal self. Favorite subject of mine. I love to hear what he's got to say, and I know you will too. Let's all rise, and let's radiate it into the world, the prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us,
and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week. And for the rest of us, we're going to sing